All right, icebreakers. Benny, can you start us off?
Yes. All right. So I'm just going to ask for your name, your grade, the school you go to, and your favorite TSA event. So I'll start first. I'm Ben Moldowski. I'm in 11th grade. I go to Plymouth White Marsh High School, and my favorite TSA event is chapter team. We'll start off with the state officer team, Mr. Parliamentarian.
Hello, I'm James Coppersmith. I'm a senior currently at Southwestern High School, and my favorite TSA event is system control technology. Nice to meet you all.
Mr. Historian.
Hello, my name is Philip Gao. I'm in 12th grade and I go to Lower Merion High School. I'd have to say my favorite event is architectural design.
Mr. Sergeant at Arms.
Hey guys, I'm Zain Al Salim. I'm a junior at Plymouth White Marsh High School, and my favorite event is music production.
Madam Reporter.
Hi everyone, my name is Michelle. I am in 11th grade and I go to Richland High School. And my favorite TSA event is probably biotech.
Mr. Treasurer.
Hey everyone, my name is Rick Bhattacharya. I'm a senior at State College Area High School, and my favorite TSA event is either biotechnology design or debating technology issues.
Madam Vice President.
Hi everyone, my name is Julie. I'm currently a senior at Harrington High School and my favorite event is chapter team.
And lastly, Madam President.
Hello, everyone. My name is Madison Martin. I'm currently a senior in the Boyertown High School chapter, and my favorite TSA event has to be board game design.
All right, now time to get to know all of you guys. We'll start off with Josh from Boyertown.
Hello there. I'm Josh from Boyertown. As you can see, I'm a senior, and my favorite high school event would have to be prom solving.
Angelina from Twin Valley High School.
Hi, I'm Angelina. I'm a senior. I'm from Twin Valley High School, and I think my favorite TSA event is probably SciViz.
Lauren from Boyertown.
Hi, I'm Lauren Sands. I'm in 10th grade at Boyertown, and my favorite TSA event would be biotech.
Catherine Smith from Baldwin.
Hi, my name's Catherine. I'm a sophomore at the Baldwin School, and my favorite event is chapter team.
Miriam from State College.
Hi, everybody. I'm Miriam Ruback. I am in 11th grade, and I go to State College Area High School, and my favorite event is geospatial.
Emmy from Lower Merion.
Hi, I'm Emmy. I'm a junior at Lower Merion High School, and my favorite event is architectural design.
Chris from Northern, I don't know, it's cut off. Chris.
Hi, I'm Chris Yawner. I'm from Northern Cambria High School. I'm a junior at Northern Cambria, and my favorite TSA event in high school is probably structural engineering.
Charlize from Bishop. All these schools started to cut off. I'm sorry.
You're good. Hi, I'm Charlize. I'm a 10th grader at Bishop McCourt Catholic High School, and I have to say my favorite event is PA logo design.
Julia from Harrington.
Hi, my name is Julia. I'm a sophomore at Harrington High School, and my favorite events are probably either children's stories or a chapter team.
Braden from Cambria Heights.
Hi, my name is Braden Thomas. I'm a senior from Cambria Heights High School, and I'd say my favorite event is children's story.
Aaron from Richland.
Hi, everybody. My name is Erin McKendry. I'm a junior at Richland High School, and my favorite TSA event has to be engineering design.
Avanti from Cumberland Valley.
Hi, I'm Avanti from Cumberland Valley. I'm a junior, and my favorite TSA event is probably biotech.
Summer from Boyertown.
Hi, I'm Summer Bellino. I'm a freshman at Boyertown High School, and my favorite event is probably forensic sciences.
Melanie from Richland.
Hi, I'm Melanie Gurko. I'm a senior at Richland High School, and my favorite event is biotech.
And last and very least, Evan from Colonial.
Hi, my name is Evan Friedman. I'm 11th grade. I go to Colonial High School, and my favorite event probably has to be board game design.
Awesome. Thank you, Benny. I think we got everyone there. Moving on. Officer update. So this is going to be our first kind of section of the meeting where each officer is going to take about a minute to kind of share what they've been up to this year. They're also going to include kind of what their committee's been up to as well. So we're going to try to keep this moving. If you have questions for any of us, feel free to send them in the chat as we're presenting, and we'll make sure to answer them. So I already introduced myself, but hi, my name is Madison. A few things I've been working on this year, the first of which is the Discord server. So we've kind of started this off with a soft launch to kind of get a feel for it and let everyone start joining. So far, it's been open to our chapters, like our state officer chapters, as well as committees. And now we're opening up to everyone on this meeting. So the join link is on the agenda. It's going to take you to a Google form. And once you fill out the form, it'll just ask that you agree to our privacy policy, things like that. And then it's going to give you the link to the actual Discord server. And once you're on there, I'll make sure you get all your permissions and you're good to start chatting away. And we are going to be doing a full launch of it, hopefully over the next couple of months for everyone in the state. But again, we're just keeping it small to start things off. Another initiative I've been working on is the pin design initiative. This was something started by Avery and Arnav last year, and we were able to finally get our first contest run this year, and we actually voted on a winner about half an hour ago. So you'll find out who that is very, very soon. We had some great entries. And that winning pin will be sold at the state conference. So that is definitely something to look forward to. We've also been working on virtual representative meetings. Obviously, you know what that is because you're here. We've been meeting with some other state officer teams from other states. So the image shown on the screen is from a recent meeting with New Jersey TSA, and we have some other meetings in the works for the upcoming months. And last but not least, we've also been working on some blog posts. So the pictures I have on the screen here are just from our 3 most recent posts. But we definitely have over a dozen up on the website with many more to come over the coming months. So keep an eye out for that, and updates are always posted on our Instagram. Julie, go ahead, take it away.
Hi, everyone. So I am the vice president, so therefore I chair the regional representatives committee. So most of the things I've been working on are pretty much facilitated through that. So the first thing is regional newsletters. Region 8 has done these before, but we decided to expand them to all of the regions that are covered under the regional representatives committee, therefore all the regions that have people that want to join the committee. So right now we have newsletters for 4 regions. They'll be coming out pretty soon. We are actually working in collaboration with Michelle and Philip through their committee to design those newsletters. The next thing is just general regional reps committee progress. So what's really awesome about regional reps is that it gives a space for all of the members to create their own initiatives for different regional conferences. So I've seen some pretty cool ideas from all across my committee that you should stay tuned for at your own regional conference. We also put out a community blog post just to talk about kind of, the return to in-person and things we can do to benefit our regions as a whole, like in terms of environmentalism or fundraising, things of that sort. We've also been working on a little bit of regional outreach, which is something that's pretty new to regional conferences. We have reached out to different companies and people for the state conference in the past, but this year we are seeing if we can get some people to come to the regional conferences, which I think is pretty cool. And then the last thing is the clothing initiative. So Evan Grove, National Treasurer, ran on that about 2 years ago, and then it got brought to the regional reps committee when he ran for vice president. So we have kind of taken that initiative as our own, and we included something really cool from Braden's high school where they essentially do a version of their clothing initiative on their own. So we encourage you to check out the blog post to read that, but then we're going to expand upon it a little more and do some more of that initiative after the regional conferences because it's more of a statewide issue. So that's it. Thank you.
Benny, take it away.
Hi, everyone. Thank you. So this year in the Outreach Committee, which is the committee I have the pleasure of chairing as secretary, we're taking a specific focus on outreach to chapters. So our goal is to specifically make the administration and management of chapters easier for you as chapter officers, as well as for your advisors. So part of these efforts will include a myriad of resources and toolkits, like how to register for conferences through our services. So our goal is to help you. So if you have anything that you find particularly difficult or confusing as a chapter officer, please reach out to me. I'm sure many others are probably having similar issues. You can always reach me through my email, secretary@patsa.org. Additionally, of course, we'll be continuing with our corporate outreach plans from last year, but I'd also like to mention and announce a recent addition to the new website, to PATSA's website, the Event Interest Questionnaire. So currently, there's only a version available for high school members, but I'm working on getting a middle school version up there soon. The questionnaire gauges a person's interest and tells them different events that they may like. I strongly recommend it for any new members or members transitioning from middle school to high school who'd like to find events that they're interested in without looking at a long list of rules. That's probably not any of you, but if there's anyone in your chapter having difficulty finding events, I would direct them to that resource. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Benny. And next up, Rick, take it away.
Sure. So my name is Rick, and I have also the pleasure of serving as the chair of the National Service Project Committee this year. And this year we've been working on a few different things. And I think most people here know that the large purpose of NSP is to work to further the fundraising goals of the American Cancer Society, who we fundraise a lot for. And so this year, a few of the things that we're doing is that at regionals, we are working to see if we are able to spread a little bit more information about fundraising, both about virtual fundraising and in-person fundraising, because there are a lot of like newer members who want to get more involved after like last year. And this is something we're going towards. Along with that, we're working on having more promotion of different things. We're working on putting together kind of like a communication blog post and also updating the website about ACS and ACS fundraising in general, because a lot of the website content on Pennsylvania TSA it's a little dated. So we are working on making sure that everybody is able to have the current information and then be able to use it and take it to their own chapters and then be able to fundraise and make an impact with that. So yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Rick. And next up is Michelle.
Hi, everyone. So first thing, one of the main things I've been working on is Gamers versus Cancer. If you haven't heard of it yet, Gamers versus Cancer is a new statewide fundraiser for the American Cancer Society. Basically, all you have to do is set up an account, join your chapter's campaign, and start streaming. Viewers can donate to your stream, and those donations will go directly to the American Cancer Society. We've also partnered with Harrisburg University to create some pretty cool prizes for the top fundraisers. So the top individual fundraiser will actually get a $2,000 scholarship to Harrisburg University, and the top chapter gets a tour of their campus and gaming facility. If you're into gaming or are looking for a way to get involved in ACS fundraising, definitely check this out. And for more information, you can watch the video that we made about it or check out some of the other posts on social media. Next is the member recruitment toolkit that has just been finished about a month ago, and it's posted on the website. It has some information about recruiting and retaining members, as well as some promotional material that your chapter can use. I know a lot of chapters have been struggling a little with membership, so if you're from one of those chapters, this might be pretty helpful. And then as reporter, I get to co-chair CAPSI with Philip. This year, we'll be making surveys and polls, as well as doing a lot of inter-committee work, such as helping Julie's committee with designing regional newsletters. And finally, there's a question guide in the works that will hopefully help you figure out who to contact if you ever have a question, whether it's about committees, events, etc. And now I'll hand it over to Zane.
Awesome. Thank you, Michelle. There you go, Zane.
All right. Hey, guys. So this year, some of the initiatives I've been working on are a college readiness guide and a possible session that could go along with that. So the guide will go on the website within the next few months, and the session would be at the state conference, given that we have hybrid or in person. And then I'm also working on a better state schedule, which will be a resource that will be used at the state conference that will hopefully make it easier for you guys to navigate the schedule and other resources needed. As Sergeant at Arms, I work with the parliamentarian James in the conference sessions and activities committee, but we'll discuss this special interest sessions at a later point in the meeting.
All right, thank you, Zane. And Philip, you're up.
Hello, my name is Philip. I have the privilege this year of helping manage our state's social media and also co-chairing the Communications and Promotions Committee with Michelle. The first thing I'd like to mention is the intro videos and the Q&As. If you'd like to learn more about us individually as a state officer team, I highly recommend checking out the intro video, the vlog, and the Q&As we've been posting on a bi-weekly basis. You get to learn more about our initiatives and also who we are as people. Next, I'd like to mention this new initiative that we're working on in CAPSI, which is the video tutorial series. This essentially is creating and filming and editing videos that have to do with anything TSA related. It can be something like how to compete in TSA events, or something more chapter oriented, like how to chapter fundraise or how to manage your chapter officer team. And we also have one about running for state office that we're going to publish as well. And as for our other upcoming videos, stay tuned for some more vlogs. We also have this cool 73 question Vogue style interview that I'm looking forward to publish as well. So yeah, please, if you haven't already, please follow our Pennsylvania TSA Instagram and YouTube to check out these videos.
All right, thank you, Philip. And last but not least, James, you're up.
Hey everyone, I'm James Coppersmith, the state parliamentarian, and I'm currently chairing the Byloan Resolution Review Committee, as well as CSAC, which Zane already mentioned. So right now, BARC has been focused on allowing members to create their own bylaw proposals as they always do. And in the coming months, as we start finalizing our list for the member chosen PA only event, we're going to be working on event specifications for that. If any of you have any ideas on a PA only event that you would like us to have, the link is available right there on the agenda that we've already sent out to you. And please share with your chapters to let them know, see if they have any ideas too. We're always accepting more suggestions and we'd love to keep working forwards towards that. Additionally, BARC right now is a smaller committee, so if any of you would be interested in joining, we're still going to be accepting applications and allowing more people to join as we keep going, and I'd greatly love to see you. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you, James. All right, now we are going, if no one has any questions, we're going to shift gear a little bit to some group discussions. This will give everyone a chance to kind of voice their opinions and share some ideas across chapters. So for our first discussion, we want to start off with chapter fundraising. So I'm going to let Rick handle this one.
Yeah, thank you, Madison. So I know I want this to be as interactive as possible because I know all of us are from different places and we have a lot of different cool ideas that work for us fundraising wise. And I know that a lot of these ideas, especially with last year, a lot of them were not really possible. But this year, I've seen that a lot of chapters have been really excited to do fundraising, and because hopefully we'll be able to make it all work out. So I just had a first question. It would be cool if we could go around and talk about these things. But before we do that, I just want to share one thing about chapter fundraising, and that is about ACS donations. So right now, if your chapter fundraises for the ACS and you have ACS donation that you need to submit, there is a form that you need to submit for that. And basically the donation goes directly to the ACS office. I think it's in Philadelphia. And so I'm not sure whether whoever is sharing their screen, if they can maybe go to that form, but it's a simple form and you can find it on the PATSA website. So that's just kind of a heads up. If you're able to share it, that's fine. If not, that's also okay. But
it's linked on the agenda. It's going to be hard for me to share. I'm sorry.
Okay. Yeah, but definitely. So it's pretty simple, and it just has on the top, it says PATSA and Relay for Life, and it says donation collection form. And that's what every chapter needs to fill out to submit their donations. But going past that, so I was wondering, most of our chapters have really got boosted this year. So have any of your chapters held any successful fundraisers this year? Does anybody want to like share or go over anything? You can just raise your hand on Zoom. Is that Angelina?
Yeah, it is. So actually, I wanted to do a test because our chapter hadn't really done any fundraisers in the past, so I just decided to try and kind of feel the water of it. And we did an ornament fundraiser where we custom made an ornaments using a laser and some plexiglass based on requests. So we just had order forms that we gave out to members, and they would just get orders for ornaments. In post, I can say we definitely should have charged more for the ornaments, which is a common comment that we got, but it was definitely a nice test run to figure out what we're planning on having at least one more fundraiser, maybe two by the end of the year. So that's just something that we did and something that was moderately successful, but I'd like to obviously take what I've learned and use that for later. Also get people involved with like volunteer work. It's not really fundraising, but I really like getting us to the food bank. So yep, that's all I got.
That's actually really cool. And I think I've heard of other chapters doing stuff for like, whether it's like Valentine's Day or other things, but I think that's a really cool idea. Does anybody else have anything else that they've done? I know like my chapter has been doing a lot. I can share one thing that we've done. We recently, we held like Smash tournament, which I think was very successful. That we held it right before break started for us. And we had pretty good turnout because there were a lot of people interested, and that was just a simple event fundraiser. So does anybody else have anything, whether it's like an event or whether it's selling things? Ava?
I'm from the Boyertown chapter, and we ran a chocolate fundraiser. It's not the most original ideas. I really liked the ornament. That was really cool. But we found out that selling food actually works really well, or anything that can be readily available to you without having to do order forms was really successful for us.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's another thing that I've learned over fundraising. If you have like less options, but you have it like personalized, or it's like really easy to sell, it makes it a lot easier to fundraise. Do we have anybody else who wants to share? And then we can kind of also go to the next question of, do you have any like fundraisers that you're planning to hold? Like even if you haven't held a fundraiser yet.
I think I see Chris has a hand raised. You can go ahead and answer.
So our chapter at Northern Cambria has always done the country meats fundraising, which is meat sticks. And I know at the regional level, I think it was our freshman year, so that would have been ninth grade. It was in 2019, 2020. We did that at the regional conference and they sold really well. And it's just a thing, like also like Ava said, you aren't doing like order forms and stuff. You just have them brought into the school. Like all the members would take out a bag or so, like 20 beef sticks, and we'd sell them. And I mean, they would sell within a day. It's really a great fundraising idea, and I would recommend it to other chapters or even at like regional conferences if you guys are having them. I know they're a little back ordered now, but I mean, I think you guys would be able to get them in before so, which would be a great option for fundraising.
Yeah, definitely. Do we have anybody else who is raising their hand? Or does anybody else want to share about a fundraiser that they've done or they're planning on holding? I think then we can kind of go through all of these questions. In a non-COVID situation, what is your favorite fundraiser? I think as we go back, we're starting to bring a few of these back. So does anybody have any sort of fundraisers that they've held that are like more in person wise? And then also the next question, are there any tips for smaller chapters? I know we talked a little bit about with Ava and with Chris about having something simple and then something that there's like you don't have to worry about order forms, but are there any other tips anybody has to share, whether you're like a larger chapter or smaller chapter? If you want to, I can't quite see everyone, but if you want to like raise your hand on Zoom, that might be a little easier. So Ava.
Pre-COVID, my chapter had a sort of pasta dinner situation fundraiser, and it was really great. Basically, people would come in and they would have a pasta dinner, and you could really get to know people and talk to them. It was just a really great way to interact with people who were supporting our chapter, and then bring in maybe future TSA-ers, I guess. And it was just a great person-to-person connection. So that was probably my favorite fundraiser pre-COVID wise.
Yeah. Wait, could you just remind me what school or what chapter are you in? I don't think you were here for the very beginning when we introduced ourselves.
No, I'm from the Bash Freshman Academy.
Oh, okay. That's cool. Okay, so I think we talked a little bit. So does anybody have any other comments or suggestions or want to share anything else about fundraising? Not really. Okay. So in that case, I think Madison, we can move on to the next conversation.
Awesome. Thank you, Rick. And good discussion, everyone. It was super cool to kind of hear everyone's unique fundraising ideas. All right, so our next category is social media. And Michelle and Philip are going to take the lead on this one.
Yeah, so as we mentioned before, there's a lot of different resources that you'll find on our Instagram and YouTube. Not only just the videos that I mentioned before, but also important updates for example, the video, the pin contest, there's an update for the deadline being extended. There's multiple updates about states that we'll have in the coming months. So definitely please subscribe to our YouTube channel and also follow our Instagram just to stay up to date and connect with our delegation.
All right, and then I'll talk a little bit about social media tips for chapters, since I know a lot of chapters have been doing this lately. Chapter social media pages are a great way to gain exposure for your chapter and retain members. First and foremost, my biggest tip is to make sure you have a clear idea of who's in charge of the account. It'll make things a lot easier in terms of coordinating posts and making sure that someone is keeping up with it. As for some other things, try to post as regularly as you can to show that your chapter has been active, whether it's an upcoming fundraiser or simply just a picture of your chapter working on something. It can also be a pretty useful tool for whether it's like posting meetings or deadlines, etc. And most importantly, just have fun with it. These pages are yours, and it'll best reflect your chapter if you're just having fun with it. And then going into our discussion, what are some things that you guys want to see on the PATSA social media account? Emmy?
You know what's so fun? Instagram Reels. I feel like you guys don't utilize that enough.
We do have one. If you'd like to see more, I can look into making some more. Evan?
Yeah, I was gonna say you guys could have like some Instagram polls, like just saying like which events are better than each other, just for fun, like a tournament like that with like every event, kind of like a March Madness thing.
Ooh, all right. We'll see if Capsy can come up with stuff for that. Any other ideas? Okay, I think that's it. It's kind of hard for us to see like who's raising their hand and who isn't, but yeah, thank you for that, and we'll look into both of those.
Awesome. All right. Thank you guys for the suggestions. They were very good. Our next category we're going to move on to are the conferences. This is kind of a big topic. For these, we're going to start off with a little description from an officer, and then we'll dive dive into discussions for some of them. All right. So Julie, would you like to kick us off with some regional conference talk?
Sure. I shall preface this with saying that Madison and I were having a little battle in the Zoom private messages discussing which one of us should say that we support the pink yassified Instagram social media, and neither of us had the confidence to say it in front of everyone, but there, I just did it. So moving on, as of right now, Region 2 is confirmed to be virtual. I know that Region 5 is on the fence between virtual and in person. So for those of you who are in Region 5, just, be prepared to make those necessary changes should they choose to switch to virtual. But I do believe that all other conferences are said to be in person right now. So in the past, we've done different special interest sessions at each regional conference. But what we did last year, because everything was virtual, we did statewide sessions kind of at regionals, even though they were being led by the state officer team. So on the day of the Region 5 conference and some other conferences, we did a parliamentary procedure session and a running for state office session. So this way we could just get it done in one go and show it to the entire state. We are most likely going to do this year, and we're going to have a few different sessions. I think parliamentary procedure, running for state office, but also a session from NSP about fundraising. And we will do these on a day that isn't a conference, that anyone can come regardless of their region, and we'll just give those sessions, and it'll be like kind of around the regionals time, so before states, but it will still be virtual. The last thing that's really cool that Regional Reps is working on. So many regions have their own social media pages, but we decided to kind of give a path for the regional representatives to showcase regional things and initiatives to the statewide Pennsylvania TSA Instagram, which I'm sure most of you probably follow. If you don't, it's Pennsylvania TSA. So a Region 5 lead representative, Catherine Smith, this was her idea, and she actually created a super awesome Google form that we sent out to our committee, and regional representatives will be able to create posts and send them in to get posted on the statewide Instagram so that we can showcase more regional things, and it will just be through Instagram story highlights. So that's pretty much what's going on with the regional conferences right now.
Awesome. Thank you, Julie. And I think with that, we're going to move on to the state conference. I'm going to handle this one. I know the question that everyone is asking, is it going to be virtual? Is it going to be in person? Is it going to be hybrid? We unfortunately don't have an answer for you yet. I'm sorry. Our January board meeting is coming up this Saturday, and currently the plan is for the board of directors to have a vote or at least a discussion on what's happening with the conference at that meeting. So hopefully we'll have a tentative decision then, so you can kind of keep an eye out for the board minutes that are going to be posted after that meeting on the PTSA website. They're usually posted within a week of the board meeting, if you want to stay super up to date on what is happening with that discussion. What I can say, at the last board meeting, a hybrid conference was discussed. If you want to read more about that, that's in the board minutes. But again, things are changing. That is not an official decision at all. Everything is still very tentative. As we've seen over the past few years, things can change in an instant. So just make sure you're following our social media pages, checking back on the website, and your advisors will obviously get emails as well with kind of updates on what's happening with the conference. So moving on from that, running for state office, I'm going to keep this pretty brief because we will have that state officer session over the next month or so. But applications for this usually open January, February, and then they usually are due about 3 weeks prior to states. If you want to look back on past year's applications, that is up on the website right now. The application will be very, very similar. So if you want to kind of get a feel for what you're in for, it's all up there on the website. If you have any questions about the campaign process, about, I don't know, running for office, what the officers do, anything like that, you can contact Mrs. Evans. You can contact any senior state officers with any questions. If you have questions about campaigning in person, a few of us do have experience with that. And as for virtual campaigning, obviously all of us have experience with that as well. So please don't hesitate to reach out. We are always happy to help and field any questions you may have. All right, Zane and James, would you like to talk a little bit about special interest sessions at states?
Yeah, so this year we're going to do a lot of the sessions as normal in-person sessions if we are in person. So that's like stuff like trivia night, minute to win it, karaoke night, treasure hunt, just a couple things like that. We're also still getting the list for that, so we are open to suggestions a little bit. But then since we didn't have time for a flex conference this year, we're going to implement some leadership sessions into the state conference. So a couple of those are going to look like leading a chapter or state, a mental health session, another college readiness, a session for that, and then maybe a few others. So we're just trying to adapt what we have with a virtual hybrid kind of situation. Anything you'd like to add, James?
Yeah, if you're interested in working on any of them, come join the conference sessions and activities committee. And with Flex, we're especially working towards making more interactive Flex sessions to try to make it more interesting and engaging for all you guys. And we're also introducing sort of like conference-wide sessions that we're going to be running as well. So we have a lot of fun stuff coming up this year.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. All right. With that, we kind of flew through this meeting. We are a 2-hour Q&A session. This is my favorite part of the meeting. And this is where you guys can ask the state officers any questions that you have. So the only guidelines we have for this, obviously, please keep questions school appropriate. That should go without saying. And then if you have a question, feel free to raise your hand and I'll call on you and you can ask it over the mic, or you can send your questions in the chat either privately to me or to everyone, whatever you're most comfortable with. So please do not be afraid to ask your questions, ask away. Fun questions are allowed, by the way. All right, we got one question in the chat already, and they are asking, it was a private message asking for advice for strengthening chapter officer teams. This is a great question. Julie, you recently wrote a blog post about this. Would you like to discuss?
Sure. All right, so thanks for strengthening chapter officer teams. I think one important thing is probably establishing like an agenda towards the beginning of the year, and then thinking about different initiatives that you can carry out. So some of the stuff that we wrote about in the regional reps blog post, which I thought was more about regions, was about individual chapter officer teams, but could be applied to both. It mentioned one thing that I want to talk about that it mentions is the clothing initiative. So Braden's chapter, which I believe is Cambria Heights, they're doing their own version of the clothing initiative, which I kind of mentioned earlier, where essentially their senior members will donate their old clothes, and then therefore new members don't have to buy any new items, which I think is super cool, because not only would it save the money from new chapter members, but it also, it means you don't have to throw away out your clothes, so it's more sustainable. We also did include some extra tips about fundraising and things like that. But really my main advice, I guess, would just to be plan out what you want to accomplish. So that way you're not scrambling to think of new ideas and you have clear set goals that you want to reach.
Perfect. Thank you, Julie. Any other officers want to add on to that? If not, I'll add on. Okay. My one point of advice is to try to interact with your team outside of TSA. So recently the state officers and I took a trip to Hershey Park. And this was just so that we could bond a little bit outside of all the stress of TSA and kind of get to know each other a little bit more. And that was a lot of fun. I'm skimming the chat for some more questions. Oh, there's one. Okay. How do we get more involved in TSA on the state level? Who wants to take that one?
I'll start with that one. So honestly, I'd say the biggest thing would be to join committees. And then once you're in committees, I think you get more of a feel just because you're interacting more with people who like work at the state level, I guess, and you get a better feel for any types of like initiatives or proposals you're going to be doing and how they're implemented throughout the state or at the state conference. So I'd say start with joining committees, and then from there, most of the time it's just interactions or things you'll be doing during a conference. or getting more involved with your own chapter officer team or with state office.
Awesome. Thank you, Benny. Any other officers want to add on to that?
Yeah, I can add on to that. I think just one thing to keep in mind is that don't be afraid to like reach out. I think this is especially relevant now with COVID because a lot of us have not been to regional like in-person conferences. So if you have somebody, like if you don't know what you're doing, if you want to get more involved anywhere, there are always members who have more experience. And I'm sure like everybody's willing to share a little bit about their own story, their own path. So don't be afraid to reach out.
Awesome. Great advice, guys. I see we have a hand raised from Angelina. Would you like to go ahead and ask a question?
Yeah, I was gonna ask about so I guess it's like still in the air a little bit with states, but so do you think a decision will be coming out next Saturday based on states being virtual, in-person, hybrid? Because I was trying to plan a trip if we couldn't go to states, but you have to do it pretty far in advance. So I was just trying to get a good gauge on when we would actually get that information.
So the minutes for the board meeting will come out about a week afterwards. I know they are discussing states. It's hard to say whether or not a definitive decision will be made just because of how much things are changing. I mean, you saw it last year and we saw it the year before. Obviously, we will be trying to make that decision, but it's hard to make any promises. I'm sorry if that doesn't quite answer your question, but just with things are always changing.
No, that's fine. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. All right, we got another direct message question. What is the best way you or your chapter de-stresses before your regional conference? Ooh, that's a good one. Any officers have an opinion on this?
I can answer a little bit. I'm gonna be honest, this is kind of a more of directly before events thing, but sometimes you just have to let it out, whether that be through a hug or a yell. You just gotta free yourself and get yourself in the mindset that you know what you're doing, you've done the preparation, you can handle this, you can face this, and just think of all the feelings you're feeling and then take it in as excitement rather than nervousness, and then use that as fuel to thrive. Before the conferences though, I would just say, take care of yourself, get good sleep, get good nutrition, all the basic self-care things that are always important, but especially important during a conference.
Yeah, great advice, especially to get lots of sleep. I know TSA people like to pull all-nighters, but please take some advice, try to avoid it. Any other officers have comments on that?
I can add on to that. For those kids that stay up all night, I may or may not be one of those kids, but there are still plenty of ways you can de-stress. A 5-minute break will do miracles. Also, if you're doing a lot of team events and your team has a lot to do, try getting together and actually working on it, because having that sort of like support system with you is way better than trying to like grind everything out on your own. And also, day of conference, I know it can be super stressful with trying to like get your events in the right place and everything, but just know that no matter what happens at the conference, everything's going to be okay. You worked really hard for this, and if you put in the work and effort, you'll definitely get the results you want.
Great advice, guys. Anyone else want to add, or can we move on to the next question? All right, moving on. Another question in the chat. They say, I find it difficult to know what I'm supposed to submit or know for some events. Is there an easier way to find what I'm supposed to submit physically and virtually? There are so many different sources and I don't know what to follow exactly. Who would like to take this question?
I'll start off by saying I'm not sure if this is consistent throughout all regions. I know in Region 5, the regional coordinators put out something called the Read, and it's basically any updates or clarifications for rules happening at that region, specifically when it's kind of like up in question if it's like virtual or hybrid or like in person. So at least for Region 5, I would look at that resource and they tell you exactly what you need. And if it's not on there and it's in the rules, you probably don't need it, but if you're not sure, I would definitely recommend reaching out to your regional coordinator or having your advisor reach out to your regional coordinator.
Yep, I think that's good advice. I think that pretty much covers that one. Another question in the chat: do you have any tips for getting through paperwork without falling asleep or keeping motivated? I have several blog posts on this. Something I use is the Pomodoro method, where you kind of set a timer for mine. I do 25 minutes working and then a 5-minute break, and I repeat that 4 times. And then on the last break, it can be like a 15 to 20-minute break. And that just helps me be able to like focus, but then also have those breaks to kind of de-stress a little bit and let my eyes not go crazy from staring at a computer screen for so long. Do any other officers have some good tips for that?
Sure. One thing I would say is super important. You always need to be in a good space to actually get work done, whether that be like a desk in your room, or maybe you have like an office in your house, just any space that's different from like your bed, or a place where you're, going on your phone, things like that, a place that you can create an association between being productive with.
Yeah, just to add on to that, also don't try to force yourself to get through it either. I know like you do have to start it eventually, but if you're writing it and you feel like it's just not working, it's just not the time, just put it down, walk away, do it another day, because if you keep trying to push it, you might burn out, which is the last thing you want.
Yeah, those are both some really good advice. All right, Erin, you have a question? Go ahead.
So for really any of the officers, I was kind of wondering, what was something that when you first became an officer, you kind of like found out like, oh, this is one of my responsibilities. I wasn't expecting this. Or if there was any like kind of culture shocks, it was something that no one told you before you were kind of thrown into it.
That's a good question. Does anyone have anything off the top of their head? I'm gonna need to think. Zane, go for it.
I mean, this isn't something I didn't know, but maybe something some people don't completely realize is that once you become a state officer, you can pretty much propose anything to the board of directors. So if you have like a really good idea, as long as it's feasible, then you might be able to get it done.
Actually, I'll add on to that real quick. Anyone can actually make a proposal to the board of directors. So if you guys have any really good ideas that you want to see happen, feel free to reach out to any of the state officer team, and we can work with you to get that proposed at the board of directors meeting.
Yeah, and kind of piggybacking off of that was something surprising was how nice the board of directors members are. Like, I know going to my first board meeting and proposing my initiatives, I was really nervous. I was afraid all my ideas were going to get shot down, nothing was going to get approved, but they're actually really nice people. Most of them are teachers, so they're used to working with kids, and they genuinely want to get our initiatives passed. So they will do their best to work with you and make some compromises and try to get those things enacted, because they do want to see us be able to better PETSA. Anyone else have some surprises they want to share? I like this question.
Add on. I think one thing a lot of people don't realize when they're running is that once you're on the team, a lot of what you do is collaborative. So I know like when you're running, a lot of the focus is on what your specific position like is for. So like a lot of my ideas were about communications and stuff, but once we're actually on the team, everything sort of becomes like teamwork. It's not like one person does all. It's very much collaborative and everyone trying to like better PATSA.
Just to kind of elaborate on what Michelle said, I think that having like a genuine passion for TSA is honestly just the thing that makes campaigning the most fun and manageable, and also something that'll help you with carrying out state office initiatives and just having a good time as a state officer. So even though a lot of the campaign is, making your speech and, Instagram posts, things like that, I would say honestly, if I were to make like a pie chart of campaigning, a significant portion would just be dedicated to, my time in TSA, just outside of running for state office and just exploring the PA-TSA community and thinking about ways to, better it, but also building a passion for it at the same time.
Yeah, I agree with everyone. And did any of the other officers have anything they want to add? I don't want to put you on the spot. All right, great question. I like that one. I haven't heard that one yet. Any other questions, comments before we wrap up? If you think of anything after this meeting, feel free to email any of us. It's just our position name at patsa.org. If you forget, our contact information is also on the website, so you can find us there. We look forward to hearing from you if you have any questions. All right, and just to wrap things up, a big thank you to everyone who came. We hope you found this informative as kind of a way to learn about what we're up to, learn about what other chapters are up to in the state, and just kind of interact with people. It's been a while since we've seen some other PTSA members outside of our chapters. So on the agenda, I have linked a survey. Julie, do you mind sending that in the chat? Please and thank you. It is just a short Google form, just looking for your feedback from this meeting. We do hope to host a few more of these throughout the year, and we will keep you updated on the Instagram is probably the best place, but we might have a website post go up too, just with a reminder of the next meeting, following a similar format, but hopefully with some more information on the state conference, a recap from regionals, things like that. So again, big thank you to everyone for showing up, and I hope we all have a great week and best of luck at all of your regional conferences.